Today we're diving into the mind of David Houncheringer, a photographer, audiovisual artist, and director. But most importantly, he is the co-founder to ENCOR Studio, a Swedish design studio comprised of audiovisual artists, all masters of designing experiences. The studio mixes technology and art to create something new. They experiment with the elements of light, space, and sound to bring some insane experiences to life. Like this light show on the Burj Khalifa, this insane moving monument sculpture, this black hole inside of a mirror, and other mind-boggling projects. They have worked with the likes of Mercedes, Omega, Puma, Eurovision, FIFA, Red Bull, Cartier, Tag Heuer, Hublot, and Heliot Emil to create experiences for all of these brands. ENCOR Studio has become a pioneer with their research in experience branding. The way that they think about experiences is totally different. So without further ado, let's dive deep to what David has to say, how he thinks about spaces, and his advice for creatives of the future.
Everything you see can suddenly become a project.
Yeah.
You need to be very curious, very look out for any opportunities.
Yeah.
And at some point, if you really love what you do, I'm sure it pays off.
Yeah, it will pay off.
At some point.
Beautiful piece you have here
Thank
right
you.
behind us.
Thank
Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind it and how did
So
this
we
come to
are
life?
audiovisual artists, and usually we work in the dark space,
Okay.
using lights. And for years, we have been developing a new technique that allows us to walk in a daylight with the sun.
Okay.
And the goal is to block the lights, and we are using glass and panels like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we call that like subtractive art because it's not like additive.
Right.
And it's like you can really work with the space by integrating the space. And before that, we were always in a dark space, very dark, and we had lights, architecture, but always additive, adding more stuff. And
Right.
now we try to reduce our footprint, our process,
Right.
and it's like a really minimalistic way to work.
So, how you have to program this thing, or how does your creative process begin
It's pretty simple. It's only glass and electronic films, and when you send some power, some electricity, all the crystal align and lets you see through.
Wow.
And that's a very, very simple process. And we love the really minimalistic way to.
Yeah, it's so simple but effective.
Yeah,
Especially-
that's what we love, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned architecture, like it's you often create pieces based on the architecture around it, or like do you have in mind a space
Yeah,
when designing a
that
piece?
really allows you to include the space around. Yeah. And the negative space becomes very powerful. You really play with negative space, you know?
Yeah.
You have a strong form in the middle,
Yeah.
but the outer space becomes very important as well.
Yeah.
We play with negative space, and that's really that's a strong line we are following now for
Well,
2 years.
you seem to have found a very strong artistic vision, and you found your lane, and you're doing it effectively, like on a very high level.
Thank you.
What advice would you give to emerging creatives that want to hone in on their vision and kind of have it more clear?
I mean, just push and experiment, and maybe we had that piece for 2 years in the studio.
Yeah.
working, prototyping, and yeah, at some point suddenly you have the sparks, and maybe you have as well the opportunity to show it.
Yeah.
Because you can have many pieces in the workshop, but if you cannot show it instead. And now for sure Instagram helps a lot. And I think we met online with Heliot Emil.
Yeah.
And conversations start very quickly, and you can quickly end up doing something cool like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so, how you mentioned Instagram. How important is it for an artist today to be able to communicate their pieces? Because I mean, there's a lot of artists out there that create beautiful work, but are unable to really.
Yeah, that's the key, really. And for sure, having a few reposts on cool art accounts on Insta helped us a lot to reach more people. And you need to think about how you can film your stuff. Because if you cannot film it, if you cannot document it well, there is a high chance that you won't be able to show it a lot. So when we develop a piece, we keep that in mind. And documenting the piece is very important today, compared to back in the days.
And you mentioned it took you 2 years to be able to make this type of technology. During that process, I can imagine it could be very hard with like financial pressure and like not being able to like actually present anything. How do you deal with that to like push through?
We do collaborations. We are not close to do that, and we love doing that because it brings you maybe some money, maybe some good location, maybe some other inputs. And it really allows you to create more. And maybe a few of our pieces were too complicated to be created, and we had to find a partner to work with, to do a collaboration with the brand. And if you do that, you make a bit of money, and then you can spend the money on the art stuff. And then you can take the art, go back to another company and try to do another collab, and it's like a circle like that.
So this collaboration is an example of.
For us, it's the perfect example. Because it doesn't kill. It's not just bringing art just to like a greenwash, like to artwash the brand. It's really a collaboration.
Right.
In terms of aesthetics, we feel that we have a
very much aligned.
Yes, exactly.
And so, how do you feel about this kind of blurring of the lines with different mediums like art, like fashion, and like design, like?
That's what makes sense today, and
with architecture.
And really, that for us it was the perfect location to show that piece here in Paris, and you don't kill any other opportunities, for sure, you need to make sure to not accept like some stupid collaborations just for the money. But I think today you can find enough interesting people like Heliot Emil to work with without killing the art. Anything can become a project. You can enjoy nature, enjoy a trip, and everything you see can suddenly become a project. You need to be very curious, very like look out for any opportunities. And at some point, if you really love what you do, I'm sure it pays off.
It will pay off
at some point.
100%. Is there any like specific like references that went behind this piece, or like what was the thought process when creating it?
It was the medium, the technology, and we didn't create the technology. We are just twisting it. We are not tech people. We are artists using technology. And it's a general research process, and be open and be like dig and do lots of trials, and at some point you find interesting like a path like that.
Perfect. That's beautiful. I mean, that very much aligns with Heliot Emil and like this collaboration just it shows that it is very much aligned. And
it was so
it
easy.
makes
Like
sense.
we did maybe a few calls on
Yeah,
WhatsApp, and things can go anyway with the fashion industry. It goes fast.
yeah,
So it was like an easy project and super fun.
wonderful. Well, thank you, David. I really
thanks a lot.
appreciate you doing this interview. Thank you.